Okay, welcome back to another video on the Maths channel. It's your teacher, Mr. Lim here, and in this video we're going to be looking at surface area and volume of cones. So by the end of the lesson, you'll be able to explain what a right cone is and find the surface area and volume of a cone. So, what is a right cone? Now, a cone is a solid with a circular base and a curved surface that reaches from the base to a point called the apex. A right cone has its apex directly above the center of the base. The pronumeral L is used for the slant height, and R is the radius of the base. Okay, so here we've got the slant height. So we use the letter L. And here we've got the radius of the base, so we use the letter R. And so we'll just use the letter H for the perpendicular height of the cone. Alright. So finding the surface area and volume of a cone. The surface area of a cone can be given by the formula. Surface area is equal to pi r squared plus pi rl. So we can see here that the pi r squared, that's the area of the circle. And here pi rl is the area of the sector that forms the curved surface. Okay, so let's have a look back at our net of the cone. Here we've got the circle, and the area of the circle is pi r squared. And here we've got a sector, and the area of the sector is pi rl. And remember, this is L, this is our slant height. Okay. The radius here is the radius of the circle. Okay, so imagine that we are to fold this entire sector around the circumference of the circle. And if we were to join this side and this side together, they will form the curved surface of the cone. Okay, with this being the apex. Okay, and this is our base down here. Now, just like a pyramid, a cone's volume is also 1/3 the volume of a cylinder with the same base and perpendicular height. So for a pyramid, it's 1/3 the volume of the prism with the same base and perpendicular height. For a cone, it's 1/3 of the volume of a cylinder with the same base and perpendicular height. So what does that look like as a formula? 1/3. Well, what's the area of the base? The base is a circle. So the area of a circle is pi r squared. We're going to times it by the perpendicular height of the cone. So 1/3 pi r squared h. Alright. So let's have a look at some examples. Here in question A, we've got a cone with a radius of 2 and a perpendicular height of 5. So let's find the volume. Volume should be nice and easy. We've got a formula, 1/3 pi r squared h. Always write down the formula, because for lots of different solids, there's lots of different formulas. So get used to writing it so you are familiar with what the formula is for each different solid. So 1/3 times pi times the radius of 2 squared times the height of 5. And we can put this in our calculator. .94. Square centimeters. Sorry, not square centimeters, cubic centimeters, because this is volume. Right, for surface area, we know that it's pi r squared plus pi rl. So pi times the radius is 2 plus pi times the radius of 2 times the slant height. Now this is L, right? The slant height. We don't have that, so we actually need to work it out using Pythagoras' theorem. Now I personally prefer not to work it out separately. I prefer to just write down what this is actually equal to straight away. So this is the hypotenuse, so this is actually equal to the square root of 5 squared plus 2 squared. Okay, so rather than putting that in my calculator and then putting it into this working out, I like to just do that straight away. 5 squared plus 2 squared. So let's put this into our calculator. Pi times 2 squared plus pi times 2 times the slant height, which is the square root of 5 squared plus 2 squared, 46.40 square centimeters. Alright, question B. Let's find out the volume of this. Now this is not a right cone. Okay, this is an oblique cone because the apex is not right above the center. But we can still use the formula for the volume because we've got a perpendicular height. Okay, this forms a right angle with the base. So volume is 1/3 times pi. Actually, let's just write the formula. Pi r squared h. 1/3 times pi times the radius, which is 2 squared, times the height of 6. One-third times pi, 2 squared times 6, which is 25.13. cubic meters. Now we can't work out the surface area, right? We know surface area is equal to pi r squared plus pi r L, but we can't work it out. Why? Because we don't know what the slant height is. It's not a right cone. It is not a right cone. So the slant height is not uniform, which means the same throughout. Okay, we can see here that this slant height is different to this one. They're going to give us different answers, and it's going to be different to this one, right? So all the slant heights will be different from the apex to anywhere around the circumference of the base. Alright, last one. The volume of a cone, the volume of ice cream in the cone is half the volume of the cone. The cone has a 3 centimeter radius and a height of 14 centimeters as shown at right or down below. What is the depth of the ice cream? Correct to 2 decimal places. Now it's important for you to know, I know normally in a cornetto or a drumstick ice cream, the ice cream's at the top. But according to this, the depth of the ice cream is this bit here. That's the depth. So we're going to pretend this is ice cream down here. Okay, ice cream. So, in order for us to solve this, we actually need similar figures or similar triangles. So I'm just going to draw my perpendicular height there. I'm going to call this R for the radius of the ice cream, pretty much, and I'll call this bit here D for the depth of the ice cream. Now, maybe pause the video and have a go with this one yourself, and when you're ready to check your answer, then continue playing the video. Okay, so let's have a look. The volume of the ice cream in the cone is half the volume of the cone. So this is what I will do. The volume of the ice cream, we know it's 1/3 times pi times r squared times the perpendicular height. In this case, I'll use the letter D for the depth of the ice cream. And we know that the volume of the cone is 1/3 times pi times 3 squared times 14. Now let's just put that in our calculator. I'm just going to leave it in exact form. So we'll do 1/3 times 3 squared times 14. That will give us 42 pi. Okay, so the volume of the cone is 42 pi. Now, since we know that the volume of the ice cream is actually half the volume of the cone, we need 2 lots of this to equal to this. So technically, since 2 lots of the volume of the ice cream is equal to the volume of the cone, we need 2 lots of this, which is 2/3 pi r squared d, and that's going to equal to the volume of the cone, 42 pi. And so we can see here that since both sides have pi, we can cancel them out. And I can see here that r squared d, I'm just going to divide both sides by 2/3. So if I were to do 42 and divide it by 2/3, we'll get 63. Okay, so r squared times d is equal to 63. So I'm now going to have a look at my similar triangles. Okay, so here we've got similar triangles, and we know that similar triangles, all the corresponding angles are equal, but all the corresponding sides are in the same ratio. So because they're in the same ratio, if I have my small one over the big one, r over 3, because they match, they're corresponding, that's going to equal to the small one, d, over 14. So d corresponds with the entire length of that. R corresponds with this length. So we can see here that if I were to work out what r or d is, I can substitute it into this, solve simultaneously to work out what r is or what d is. So let's have a look. I might, because we want to know what the depth of the ice cream is, let's just work out r. So if I were to work out, let's work out what r is. R is equal to 3d over 14. We just multiply by 3. Okay, so r is equal to 3d on 14. So now I'm going to substitute that into this. We've got 3d over 14 squared times d is going to equal to 63. So that's 9d squared times d is d cubed. 14 squared is 196 is equal to 63. And now we can solve for d. So I'm just going to draw a line down there. I'm going to multiply 63 by 196 to get rid of the fraction. 12348. So 9d cubed is equal to 12348. Divide both sides by 9. 1372. And now I can cube root it. So the cube root of that is 11.11 centimeters. And so, now that I've done that, let's just double check that I've answered the question. The question says, what is the depth of the ice cream? And that's exactly what I found, the depth. Okay. Over here, if you worked out what d is, so if you said that the depth of the ice cream is equal to 14r on 3, and then substitute into here, r squared times 14r on 3 is equal to 63. You can solve for r and then substitute that back into this, and then you'll get the depth of the ice cream. So you'll still get the same answer of 11.11. So that's a pretty tricky question because it requires knowledge of other topics, such as similar figures. So make sure that you know how to incorporate that into these types of questions. All right, so that's it for this video. So just to recap, you should now know what a right cone is, and you should now know how to find the surface area and volume of a cone. Please memorize these. Okay, please know that pi r squared is for the circle, pi r L is for the sector, the curved surface of the cone. okay, when finding surface area, that L is the slant height. Please know that volume of a cone is 1/3 the volume of a cylinder, and that's the volume of a cylinder, pi r squared h. Alright, so that's it for this video. If you have any questions, just comment down below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, and if you would like more content that is similar to this, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. See you.